All right, here today we have a Remington R51. Me and Paul saw one of these at the NRA convention we went to a few weeks back. We wanted to try one out. We have one we can do a range review on today. I hear this was built off an old model, Paul.
Yeah, it's Pederson Design. I guess the original concept of this gun was came about in about 1918, and they put it out there, and this gun stayed into production until about 1927. And I say this gun, a version of this gun, a much earlier version of this gun, it's got similar characteristics, but the gun really does look a lot different. But the Pederson design that it's built on the inside, the barrel stays locked in place, and the breech behind it is what moves. It's not a locking lug system like a 1911 or a Glock. So everything moves rear of where the gun enters the chamber, or the bullet enters the chamber, and the barrel itself stays stationary. So this should be, in terms of that, it should be an accurate gun because nothing moves in terms of the barrel. However, it depends on who you talk to and where you look. There's some negative things. Some people like the gun, some people don't. We're here to kind of dispel some of those myths or prove that some of them are true today, Chad. So we're going to run it through a couple little tests and see how it functions.
The Pederson design of this gun makes a first impression a horrible first impression. It's very clunky and deliberate. It's not smooth at all and makes you feel like something is wrong with the weapon when you try to cycle it. So rather than being gentle with the slide and trying to pamper it, we just grabbed the slide and aggressively pulled it backwards, and then it seemed to cycle a little bit better. We all took our turn running a few mags with the R51, and none of us had any real problem of the gun cycling or functioning properly. There was absolutely no real recall to speak of, in spite of what we had read online. After successfully running several mags through the R51, we decided to do a couple of mag dumps. That's where the problem started.
There was my mag dump.
After further checking my hold on the gun, I actually ride my left thumb along the side of the slide, and that does not allow the R51 to cycle properly. Once I took my left thumb off of the slide and lowered it down to the frame, I had no problems. And neither did Todd.
Okay, we shot the Remington R51, and I have to say, after all the stuff that we read online and the things that I heard individually about the weapon, I'm not going to say that I'm going to rush out to buy one, but what I'm going to say is I'm not going to keep myself from buying one. I had convinced myself that I didn't want one before I shot it, which is not fair to the gun. There's some things I didn't care for about the gun, namely how you work the action. It's like there's several stages to the action. When you're charging the weapon, it's not smooth at all. There's like, it hiccups along the way. So it's a little bit awkward how you do that. The grip safety, you have to make sure that you engage the grip safety properly. Grip safety runs across the whole back side of the gun. If you grip it low, you may not be gripping it tight enough to engage that grip safety, so you have to grip it high enough. Other than that, firing it, I didn't seem to have much of a problem firing it. Chad, what'd you think of the weapon?
I liked it. We shot it. The groups we all shot with it seemed really good. We were probably 7 yards out, and we got good groups off of it. Like I said, once you get past that initial racking of the slide, the gun functions as you would think any normal 9mm gun would. It's just getting past that our original impressionations of it. It was just, we didn't know how it would work.
Right.
So,
Todd, what'd you think?
Well, Paul, I didn't have any trouble hitting what I was shooting at. I was shooting at 7 yards. One thing I was kind of expecting after what I read on the thing was that it had an excessive recoil, and it did not.
No.
To me, it felt like a 380. I don't know, who had put out the review on the thing, but to me, it felt nice to shoot. It's not something that I would really run out and buy for my taste, but you're looking for a budget gun, we say about $400.
Yeah, about 400.
That's not bad.
Ben, what'd you think?
I kind of agree with you guys. I'm not going to run out and buy one. It's not quite my taste, but it did shoot well. We got good groups, got a good sight picture. The things that I didn't like about it, the mag, how it sits completely flush in the mag well, so that mag changes can be a little awkward. But also, it didn't have there's no trigger reset on it at all, which that kind of I don't like that. But other than that, I mean, it's a fairly smooth shooting gun. It's just and my impressions after shooting it were better than my impressions before and after the things that I read online. So it's an average gun. It's a decent gun.
For the price point, I guess it's not too bad for a $400 gun, but I guess it's like anything else. If it's a newer model or a newer rendition of a model, you're kind of taking a chance when you get it, and it's really up to you whether or not it's the gun for you.
We've got to admit, while doing our research on the Remington R51, we ran across a lot of negative feedback online, and unfortunately that had actually given us a bit of a first impression before we even laid our hands on the weapon. Most of the negative issues that we'd read about involved actually functioning, cycling of the rounds in and out of the chamber. But I found that resting my left thumb on the slide was a big reason why that didn't work for me. So by removing my thumb, it certainly solved the problem with no issues whatsoever of cycling. None of the other guys, who again were not resting their thumb on that slide, had any problem whatsoever of cycling of rounds. And it appears that just sheer design is the reason for the clunkiness of the action. This Pederson design lends itself to not having a recoil spring, and the spring is actually wrapped around the barrel, and that spring bunches up around the barrel as you cycle the action backwards. So apparently that grinding and that odd motion of that breech block going upwards and backwards is part of the reason why we have such an issue with that clunky, deliberate feel of the cycling of the handgun. A couple of positives: zero recoil. This gun is very easy to fire. I can see a small person or a woman having no issue with firing this handgun. And concealability, very small, light, and narrow, making this weapon very easy to carry and not have it be seen by others. With a company with the reputation as solid as Remington, I would have liked to have seen them take a design that was 87 years old and improve on it a little bit, not just make it look prettier. The Pederson design that this gun is based on is not a popular design for a very good reason. The locking lug system that most other handguns use today would have made this gun most likely a pretty big hit.